All right, what we're going to listen to here is Mr. Neil Mcfarlane talking about his new fiscal year budget. Very hard to track on his monotone speeches about anything. Do you notice how he stands? He does his talks far away from the microphone. I put it to you that he does that on purpose so that we can't hear what he's saying. Okay, people said I'm crazy, but you know, I bet you he's doing it for a reason, because you can't. It's hard to understand him as it is. When Jason asked to plug into the soundboard, the audio guy, the guy that's doing the audios, because you can get these board meetings from TriMet if you pay. You have to pay for them, and you have to submit a public records request, because TriMet has no commitment to transparency. Don't ever let them fool you with their. They use the word transparency. It's just like them using the word safety. It's just a word. It doesn't have any meaning in reality. So Jason asked the soundboard guy if he could plug into the soundboard so we could hear what these bureaucrats are saying, and the soundboard guy said, "No, I don't want to have the wire go across the room or something," which is weak. But nevertheless, he wouldn't allow it. So it's hard to get through his spiel. Because he talks in such a monotone and he's so far away from the microphone. But anyway, let's listen to it.
Mr. Board President, members of the board, again, I'd like to have Dave come up and help us through this, but I did want to just provide a few highlights of this fiscal year 14 budget. This, as I sort of noted from the outset, this is a budget that allows us to fix what we have, pay what we owe, and it's good for riders. It provides fiscal stability, and it provides improved service reliability, and indeed improved service. Highlights of the budget include adding $2.1 million in bus service fixes. It begins to implement and follow the recommendations of West Side Service Enhancement Plan that we just completed in Washington County. It accelerates bus replacement. 70 new buses are coming beginning this month through the fall. And it will be added to that another 60 buses from this budget as proposed to be delivered next spring. I mentioned earlier associated with contract actions, the State of Good Repair, which is again a program to begin to improve the reliability and focus on the reliability of the rail system, and allows us to begin to make some of those investments in rehabilitation, not just maintenance. There is no fare increase associated with this budget. We continue the low-income fare mitigation program. The Portland-Milwaukee project is funded. No new general fund dollars this year. One other item that I just wanted to note that we haven't really talked about in the section prior is related to operator break and restrooms. We certainly recognize the need for safe restrooms, and that we have some locations right now that simply don't measure up. The recent safety incident in Southeast Portland indicated that to us. You should know that we do have an ongoing program to improve these facilities over a period of time, but with this recent issue, I recognize the need to accelerate this program. So within existing and current resources, we will reallocate a few elements of our capital program to do just that. So, for example, we do include in this budget new restrooms, permanent restrooms that will be constructed at Milwaukee Transit Center and at Flavelle and 92nd. You should know, by the way, that on June 2nd, the Deacon Triangle layover will be moved to two alternate locations, so we'll be fully out of the Deacon Triangle area with a new sign-up. But we continue to focus on finding a permanent location off-site that would be available for lines 8 and 17 in that area, so the budget allows us to advance that program as well. And then for those areas where we have actually, I think there are just 4 portables remaining or thereabouts, and what we will do in the short term is improve the fencing, security, and lighting around those so that they are actually much safer areas, but they are on a long-term program that we will advance as quickly as we can to actually create permanent facilities. As you well know, not everything can be done at once, but we do want to advance this as quickly as we can because we know how important it is. And we have been on that program for a while. Also just wanted to note that related to public outreach. If I wanted to summarize what I've heard from our riders and our customers, it's everybody wants more and better service. Since February, Trump staff and I have been actively engaged in a number of public outreach meetings. We started with the General Manager Budget Task Force, as reported to you earlier. But our philosophy this year has really been to go out and meet people where they are in the communities, financial centers, in many stakeholder meetings, and meeting separately with different groups. We have met, as our calculations tell us now, about 1,900 different stakeholders associated with this in 150 different venues around the region. So this has been another good effort to try to reach out and hear from our riders and customers. We've also been able to meet with a number of business organizations such as service providers, schools, and other our jurisdictional partners, which are always part of our outreach effort. We add in the email and social networking. The numbers go to about 41,000. But some specific topics we have talked about, and I think deserve a little special mention at the outset, is that our commitment to review the transfer policy. We are using updated data to analyze transfer issues, any pricing changes associated with cost differences associated with it, how those impact translate to different segments of our community, and we promise to provide that information to our community partners as well as the board by the end of June. We would begin to have work sessions and conversations with those in July, and we will report back to your board meeting in July for your consideration about any change. I just also note that that's being facilitated, if you will, by our gradual implementation of the ticket printers on buses. We did do a pilot earlier this year, and the permanent installation of that is beginning very shortly. It will be turned on garage by garage, all to be completed by July 1. Those printers will allow the flexibility, if you will, to make some adjustments in the transfer policy that will be subject to your consideration. I'd also note that the Portland Public School Youth Pass has continued for one more year with a partnership with the City of Portland and Portland Public Schools. But also comes with a commitment to look at the sustainability of that program and the equity of that program over the long haul. And we'll begin that very shortly with our partners, and also need to begin to invent the process whereby we make sure we circle back with the stakeholders on that in many different venues. I also would just note that we are still, as you well know, underway with union contract negotiations, or hope to be underway with union contract negotiations. The status of the ERB appeal of last July's arbitration decision is really critical for our ability to maintain the kinds of improvements we see in this budget moving forward. With that, I would also note that we have also committed to review non-union compensation. We'll be doing a process that looks at total compensation, recognizing that we have some very different benefit tiers related to our non-union employees that need to be considered along with salary. And we will look to bring that back publicly in these sorts of sessions for your discussion and your evaluation. I would tell you what I've told our employees is nothing's going to happen before January, so my expectation by this fall we will begin that conversation publicly with you and with other stakeholders. With that, I'd like to turn to Dave, who has wanted to just review, I think, a few updates associated with these budgets, and that's all the formal documents.
Okay, so I enhanced the audio so you could try to hear it a little better. Unfortunately, when I enhance it from here, it also adds a distortion. Some of his highlights, he's talking about new bathrooms. It's hard to know how any of these words are going to translate into reality. You know, it's usually a lot of talk and very little action. Well, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to do something. He's going to go meet people where they are, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. He meets people at the board meeting. Okay, you meet people, they're talking to you. You don't want to listen to them. But those other people, the people that are talking to you at the board meetings, you know, they've taken the time to come and talk to you. You can read the Twitter reports. Okay, that's your best source of feedback. I've just gotten access to one of the complaint logs, and you see what you see what people are really thinking. You know, they've had this method of just kind of ignoring anything bad forever. Oh, by the way, let me stick in here that just today, they decided to match the max reward. You know, the max train went over a rock and they were offered $1,000 for the reward. Well, today they've just offered to match that for the bathroom stabber. So, congratulations for finally waking up that a human life is worth more than a max train.